Welcome back to the Coalition of Friends YouTube channel. My name is Garrett, and it's October, which means 1. Spooky season, 2. TV is back, and 3. The Walking Dead is back. So today I'm going to be reviewing the season 10 premiere of The Walking Dead. Alright, so this episode opened up with a bit of, we got Judith giving us a narration of past events, which we saw with clips beforehand, or clips during it. That was fine. I feel like Judith wasn't the one that should have done that. I feel like she's still innocent in a way that a lot of other characters aren't. After that, we got a shot of a satellite going through space and going around the Earth, which it seemed like going really fast, so I guess, yeah. And then, since there's nobody to man them in, like, space things or whatever, I guess that there's nothing to fix it if it ever went out of orbit a little bit, so I guess it would fall. It's weird that it would fall in front of our characters, but sure, the show has to go on. And then we had this opening scene with a bunch of people at Oceanside on the dock, or the beach or whatever, and they're doing this thing to be able to protect against a bunch of walkers, so they're battle planning. This opening scene with most of the main cast was fantastic. We got to see a bunch of people use different weapons. Alden threw this spear, and when it hit the walker, it like flew the walker back, which is like, I don't know if that's physically possible, unless the walker was just like super light because of how little it like eats and it's deteriorating, I guess. I don't know. And we got to see everyone's different kind of weapon styles. For some reason, Judith is part of that thing, which I'm like, Michonne, keep your daughter safe, but I guess she can handle herself at the same time. So like, good on Judith, but like, don't do that. And then we come back to Oceanside after that happening. Luke's getting flirted with, which I think that woman right there, there's a doctor later that's talking with Sadiq. Those two people are from the Whisperers. I think there are plants from the Whisperers inside the communities, but that's something for a later day. Then we get to the opening credits, and we get, last season we got new ones. This season we get an update to it, where we see the bridge getting blown up by Rick. And that is cool to add. I like that there's something new in it. Maybe they'll keep doing that with the season when we find more and new things to add to it, or replace other things. Then we get the knowledge that there was a mask found, of course, by the kids, RJ and Judith and Jerry's kids. God, Jerry's so funny in this show. And then he cares about Ezekiel and like cares about his family. If they kill Jerry, I'm gonna stop watching this show. So then there's 6 of them. 6 people leave from the Oceanside. And then they're seen going off on horses, and that aerial shot of them riding off and splitting up into 3 groups, fantastic. We get this scene with Aaron and Michonne, and really, I didn't know that they would be able to have good on-screen chemistry together, and they do. They really do. They have an argument because Aaron finds a bunch of walkers on a bridge and he goes to take them off and he almost dies, even though everyone almost dies in it. But they're like, you could have died. But the added pressure of knowing that the Whisperers are there, that they're technically, the bridge was part of her border, means that one of them could have been a Whisperer, and that's when Michonne gets mad at Aaron and is like, that was really stupid of you to do. You shouldn't have done that. And so on. You should be smart. We got some emotion from Aaron about Eric and Jesus because they killed off Jesus. Nonetheless, very good scene. We come back to Oceanside, and Michonne finds Judith telling RJ about a story about a man who was leading a bunch of walkers away, and he's crossing this bridge, and his friends are all on the other side of the bridge, but he has to save them by blowing up the bridge. And Judith doesn't say that's his father, because RJ never met his father. That was Michonne had to watch that, and that was like really tough. Probably to hear. I feel like Judith shouldn't have told that story because I think RJ is too young maybe to understand death and something like that. Although like the world now is full of death, so like maybe the earlier the better for that. I don't know. We now just have 3 communities left. It's just Hilltop, Alexandria, and Oceanside. We didn't see Hilltop at all this episode because it's just not important. We got a lot of Hilltop last season premiere. And this we see Eugene figuring out how to like take care of a baby and figuring out all the science and timing things. Rosita is working out. Sadiq is also a parent because he's like the father of the child, but also Eugene wants to be the dad. And also Gabriel is the dad, I guess, is a dad, but not like genetically dad. It's very confusing, and I'd like to see how it goes. I'm surprised that even though the baby is like, they're all 4 still going to do stuff or something. I'm really happy that we didn't have a pregnant Rosita. Like we had a pregnant Maggie for so long. Last season we found out she's pregnant. This season she has a baby from the beginning. And I'm okay with that. Then we get to see Lydia. We get 2 scenes with Lydia this episode. Lydia right now is the most compelling character, in my opinion, on the show. I really like her. Because she's an outsider, and we get a scene with her and Negan, and they're both the outsiders. So they're both, she's asking Negan what certain words are saying means. She's also learning how to read, and she thinks it's dumb because she hasn't had to, because she was a little kid before the apocalypse started. So, like, of course, she wouldn't have to know how to read. They are able to just understand each other that what's going on. Negan is basically a prisoner still, but he also gets to do stuff in the community. So he gets to help, in what he says, he gets to help pick vegetables and fruits and take the trash out. So he gets to do some stuff. That's kind of what we saw in Carl's visions of the future, is like Negan helping out in the community. Another really interesting thing they're doing this season is Sadiq has PTSD, what I believe is PTSD, from his time with Alpha that we didn't get to see. He told us what happened, and that's what we know from it. So, that happened, and there's this doctor dude that comes in, and he's like gay or whatever, or making jokes. I'm really confused, but I believe he is a Whisperer as well, because he just arrived, or recently arrived. I think Luke is going to die. Dan Fogler is listed as a supporting cast member, and I think he is going to die, unfortunately. I like Dan Fogler, though. Oh, he's such a good actor. Then we get this great scene between Negan and Gabriel, where Negan gives Gabriel some advice, and he tells him he's going to give him advice by saying this fantastic line.
Oh, Davey boy, why don't you just nestle in below me and let me baby bird a little bit of my wisdom into that pretty little mouth of yours.
So good. I enjoyed that a lot. It was a very funny line. And basically just tells Gabriel to lie, to keep the community okay and safe, and feeling safe or whatnot. I don't know if that's a choice he does when he tells them to close the gates and have extra guards around. I think he doesn't take Negan's advice. And then they see the satellite coming in and whatnot. Then we go to the beach, where we see Connie, and I believe Connie is a deaf girl, and then her sister is also losing her hearing at some point. So they're really working on ASL together and reading lips and whatnot, and I love the inclusion of the ASL in it because you just get an added, sort of like a Quiet Place type thing, but it just works really well in a world of zombies, because they also rely on sound to find things. I don't think they have smell or whatnot. So we come back to the beach, there's a Connie and her sister stuff, and then Daryl shows up with Dog, and Dog really likes Connie, and Daryl has an ASL book, and I really hope Bonnie and Daryl become a thing, because they have, even though they can't say anything, they have such a great chemistry on screen together. It works really well. I enjoy that. We get an Ezekiel and Daryl scene when Carol arrives on the boat, and I don't remember what Ezekiel and Daryl talk about, but it was just awkward seeing them at the same time. See Carol arrive because Ezekiel thinks that Carol likes Daryl, even though they're just really good friends. But then Ezekiel also noticed that Daryl had the ASL book in his back pocket, so like, I don't know, too much love drama happening for a zombie show, even though it is a show about people foremost. Daryl and Carol go hunting, and we see them kill it. You see Daryl shoot a deer, and it's a very CGI deer when it falls down because they don't want to use a real one, but like, maybe use a little bit more money to make the deer look good. You're on a season 10, so you have money. It's kind of weird that Daryl is following the border rules. I guess he doesn't want to lose anybody else after they lost 10 people, and he doesn't, especially with Carol there, I guess he doesn't want to lose Carol. He admits to her that she's his best friend, and that's a very funny scene. So good. This episode was more funny. It was a funnier episode than usual. Just a lot of really good jokes, especially coming from Carol. I really enjoyed that. And then because of the satellite crashing, we have to deal with a forest fire. And this was, like, we got winter, I believe something we haven't seen before. So we have a new situation that the characters have never found themselves in, I believe. And they're risking it to go across this border to take out this fire, because if the forest fire becomes a huge thing, then every community could go down. Who cares if it takes out the Whisperers? It could take out their communities, stuff they've built for years, families that live there. So they have to take the fire down. And then we get a massive horde approaching the fire during it. Everyone is doing their stuff. Ezekiel is coughing up because he's spending too much time. And Jerry convinces him to, like, leave, go away, get better, and whatnot. Like, don't waste yourself on this. There's a walker that's on fire, it's on the ground, and Carol grabs another walker, slits its throat, and uses the blood of it to put out the fire on that walker. That was really good. That was fantastic. In the end, they get the fire down. They get the fire done the next morning. No casualties, I believe. We didn't lose anybody this episode. And Eugene wants to collect pieces from the satellite. Luke comes over with the nickname Eugenius. I don't know if that's been used before, but it was very funny. And asks about radiation, so maybe there'll be a radiation thingy later this episode. Like, no superpowers, of course, but like maybe somebody will get radiation poisoning and die of that. I feel like it could be Eugene, since he spent the most time digging through the satellite. And then Michelle notices that Daryl and Carol are gone, and the horde, the massive horde that Alpha showed Daryl last season is gone. It's fully gone. So maybe she's moved him to another location because they knew it was there. And the end of the episode, Alpha comes out of the forest doing a little stretching thingy, looks up and sees Carol, and they're doing a little stare off, and then end credits. So that was season 10, episode 1, the season premiere. Like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. It was a good 52 minutes of television. A solid continuance of what last season brought upon once we did the 5-year time gap after losing Rick, and we get to have the Whisperers. There's still this foreboding presence that even though they're not there, every character is afraid of them and worried about what they could do at any moment at any time. So we have to deal with that. I'm excited to learn more about Alpha and why she's decided to do this. Especially against these people, I guess because they took her daughter or whatever. Although her daughter is one of them now. And Lydia has this cool, like, nunchuck staff weapon thingy because staff, which I get over Henry. I really didn't like him, and I feel sorry for Carol that he died. But nonetheless, I would like to see where the show goes. This is a show that I'm going to review every week because I really like it. This one is going to be up on Sunday tonight, which you've already seen it because we got this episode early. If you have an FX premiere, whatever it's called, or an AMC premiere thingy, so that's why I was able to review this early. If anything else, every review will come out on a Monday or a Tuesday afterwards, and we'll go from there. If you like this video, give it a like. If you want to see more of these, hit subscribe. Hit that bell so you can get notified when new videos come up. And I'll see y'all later.